beads. So we should put the emphasis there. Learn how to chant. Prabhupada says we should chant like a baby crying for the mother. Without that, we won't understand this movement. Just like these children can't understand it, right? They're children. Because they're children, they have no good intelligence to understand. If we start speaking philosophy, it doesn't register. They won't be able to understand it. So more or less, everyone is like a child. In the Kali Yuga, everyone is accepting the body as the self. Alasudra Sambhavan. Everyone is a Sudra. Sudra means the lowest class. Means it's just worker. We're all workers. Nobody's can claim to be high birth in this Kali Yuga. Even the Brahmins, so-called Brahmins, they're not having a high birth. Because to get a high birth, you have to have first sanskars performed by the parents before the conception. Who's doing like that? Then the child has to be trained. So many purificatory rites from the very beginning, even in the womb of the mother. But Lord Chaitanya has come to deliver it so generously. Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prinipadayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gudat Krishna. He's freely giving this highest thing. Radha Krishna conception. There's no higher. We hear different philosophies, but you can't imagine a philosophy higher than God and His beautiful consort are eternally enjoying in Vrindavan. And we can take part in that. We can assist them in their enjoyment. We can be brought into the rasa dance. There's no higher conception in any in theology. What they can't even appreciate that God could be your child, like Mother Yasoda. Krishna agrees to become a child because Mother Yasoda wants to deal with him in that way. She wants to place him on her lap and give her breast to him. If we bring that into the church or the mosque, they'll throw us out. What are you talking about? You're blaspheming God. Saying God is a little child and God can suckle a mother's breast. And they won't hear it, right? So we're getting the highest thing, even though we're the most unqualified. Kali Yuga. So therefore, we have to take the process seriously. The process is Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Eva Kevalam. Just go on chanting. But we see it's hard. Even we give the microphone, people don't want to chant. But we have to learn somehow. Let's practice in the shower. And learn how to vibrate these mantras. A simple mantra, but it's great potency. Lord Chaitanya has stressed on it. What is the first symptom is? The dirty things in your heart will come out. You'll no longer be addicted to the vicious vices like greed and anger. Otherwise the whole world is lusty and greedy and angry. And we're going to be affected by that. We are affected. We're born into it. So this is the only way out, is to get a higher taste. If we don't get a higher taste, then we're going to go back to the old things, chewing the chewed. Prahlad Maharaj described it, chewing the chewed. We're going to, again, be addicted to so many sinful activities. So, that verse is there, the Bhagavad Gita is here. One has to get a higher taste. Without that higher taste, it won't be possible to remain in this movement or remain in free from sinful activity. Therefore the Christians say no one can be free. Because in their experience no one is free. Only Christ is free. So they make him God. But we met a person who was free from sin. His divine grace, I see Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And he was telling them, you can also, Christ was also saying, go and sin no more, he told the prostitute. Mary, was it Mary Magdalene? And he said, you should become perfect like me. So that was his instruction, but they can't do it, so they give up. Well, we'll just go on sinning, but we have accepted Christ as our Savior and He'll redeem us. No, it's not like that. Christ can redeem you, but you have to become like Christ. But if your philosophy is that you can't become like Christ, you can't become pure and perfect, then it's like a catch-22. You can't get out of it. You're going to have to remain in a suffering condition. Because unless you're free from sin, you're going to suffer. The wages of sin are death. So here, Lord Chaitanya is freely giving. Here's the way to get free from sin. Chant Hare Krishna. But you have to learn how to chant Hare Krishna purely. That's why we're ready to give the microphone to the children. Because this is the beginning. If they learn, if they get a little attraction for the chanting, then they'll remember, oh, that was nice. We have to give a good experience. Then, 1 year from now, again they'll chant, and again they'll chant. And the same with the men. We have to learn how to chant. We can't emphasize it too much. We can study philosophy, but it won't touch our heart. There's so much philosophy here. How many of you are reading regularly, say 1 hour a day or half hour a day? How many of you are reading half hour a day, Prabhupada's, any one of Prabhupada's books? Raise your hand. 1, 2. Because philosophy is hard. You get bored, you put on a computer or watch the television or something. But we can get a higher taste in the chanting very easily. Even the children will come, oh, let me have the microphone. Otherwise, see, they're not here now because we're talking philosophy. It's not interesting. But to hear yourself chanting, then you get something better. So, chanting. From the morning is the best time. In our temple there, everybody gets up early, except Bhakti John is not coming, but everybody else gets up early. He comes, he chants this mantra. The morning is the best time. Then you have a strong foundation. I'm sure he chants in his house. Then you have a strong foundation. And that way, Maya won't get you. Otherwise, I remember Prabhupada was in London. I was there, he sent me to assist the devotees who opened a center. There were 3 householder couples originally went. Prabhupada sent them. And they met the Beatles and George Harrison. And so a lot of things are happening. But they wrote to Prabhupada and said, well, some boys are coming to join, but there's no brahmacharis to train them up. So I was there in Vrindavan at the time, New Vrindavan. And Prabhupada called me and he said, so you wanted to open a center, please go to London and help them. So I was happy to go. And then after some 2 months, Prabhupada himself came. So when he came, it was an evening in the airport, but the next morning, everybody came into his room to have his association. So one of the ladies, Mukunda's wife, Janaki, she said, in a very emotional voice, she said, Prabhupada, you're so wonderful. You want to save the whole world. And Prabhupada became sober, thoughtful, and he said, yes, but this is Maya's kingdom. It's not easy. But this is Maya's kingdom. It means that it's like the default position. As soon as you just let things go, you'll be in Maya. You have to. Like once a devotee said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I don't like to go on the street because when I go out on the street and I see all the women and stuff, then I fall in Maya. Prabhupada said, you're always in Maya. Sometimes you fall in Krishna. But generally we're always in Maya. Maya means what? That we're taking the body and mind as ourself. This is the first Maya. We're accepting this body as the self. And we're acting on that platform, false ego platform. I'm this body. This is mine. It's like the children. We can get them to chant for a moment, but we can't convince them that they're not this body. They're not going to. Call them in here and say, try to get them to. They're not going to. It's not going to be possible. But we can gradually learn and start acting on the spiritual platform. But as soon as we, you can say, go back to our old way of thinking, then we'll be in Maya. And it's natural to go back to your old way of thinking. Since time immemorial, we've been thinking like this. Every animal is thinking like that. I'm this body, and there may be danger. I have to watch out. I have to cheat in order to maintain myself. I have to kill another animal. I have to take advantage. So we're just like sophisticated animals. We cheat each other, and just like that, we're not even thinking. We lie to each other. Isn't it? When you have an experience like that, you have to always be careful. You're doing business and somebody's going to cheat you. Animal propensity, cheating. But we're all born into it. The Christians are right about that. We're born in sin. We're born with this proclivity to put ourselves in the center. That's a fact. But we don't belong in the center. Krishna belongs in the center. When we put ourselves in the center, then there's bound to be conflict, because you put yourself in the center. I put myself nation to nation. America puts itself. Russia puts it. There's always going to be conflict. Do we have any? I remember I once went to a Gurukul. The boys were studying. So I asked them, what did you study today? And they said, we studied history. Oh, so what did you learn in history? We learned that history is one war after another. There's always a war. And it makes news because people are getting killed. Right now, as we speak, there's somebody being killed in Syria, somebody, wherever. There's always upheaval. This is the material world. Therefore, Krishna says, Dukhalayam ashashvatam. It's a place of suffering, and it's temporary. But we're eternal, and we're blissful. We're not meant to suffer. But how to get out of it? There's a process. Just like for anything, there's a process. We give the example. Prabhupada gave the example. The process for eating. You have to put the food in your mouth. You have to chew it. You have to digest it or swallow it. Then it'll be digested. You can't say, I'm going to make my own process and put the food in your ear. You won't get the result. So process is there. Krishna is speaking of the Bhagavad Gita. This is the process. So we do emphasize books also. It's not that we don't have philosophy. But especially in the beginning, we should emphasize the chanting. And speak something on philosophy. So we understand why we're chanting. We're chanting because Krishna is God. Bhagavad Gita, every page, Krishna says, I'm the Supreme Person. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So we're chanting His name so that He'll be pleased with us. Just like if we sing somebody's name, they're happy. If we actually, with feeling, if we appreciate oh John, you're so, oh Bill, then they'll appreciate that. If we can speak from our heart and appreciate them, they'll be happy that we're appreciated. So why not God also? God is also a person. He has His likes and dislikes. So He likes to be glorified. It's not out of false ego. He should be glorified because He's the Supreme. Everything is coming from Him. Everything is resting on Him. So just see what is His position. So to glorify Him is natural. But now we've come into an unnatural position. Instead of glorifying God, we're enjoying hearing ourselves speak. Just like the children. You can hear them. This is natural. They like to hear themselves speak. This is our condition. We're conditioned. We're called conditioned living entities. It's okay. They're not disturbing. I see it as natural. And we'll do the same thing. Prabhupada used to say sometimes, there's a saying, a Bengali saying that, what a goat won't eat, what a foolish man won't speak. A goat will eat anything, and a foolish man will speak anything. And so that's our condition. We're foolish, we speak all this nonsense. But Prabhupada says that speaking is like the frog croaking. And what is the croaking of the frog? It attracts the snake to swallow it. Therefore, Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan, we want to emphasize that. So that we'll get relief from this disease condition. Maya is so strong. We say, well, I'm not diseased, I'm fine. I'm healthy, I'm young, I'm in America, my future is bright, I have a good job, I have a good income, everything. But no, this is not your real home. You're going to be defeated by the time element. No one can escape old age, disease, death. They're waiting for us. But this is unnatural for us. We're meant to enjoy eternal life full of knowledge and bliss. So take the process, read Bhagavad Gita, chant Hare Krishna. Morning is the best time. Yeah, everyone should have a Gita. We brought some Gitas. If you don't have one, please take. I think they're just $10. Take a Bhagavad Gita, like Mahatma Gandhi said. He's the father of your country. He said, every day I read from Bhagavad Gita. So every day you should read. 1 verse, 2 verses, as much time as you can spare, especially in the morning. And then you can have a good foundation for the day. When something disturbs you, when somebody's cheating you, or you feel, then you can come to this point of chanting Hare Krishna and remembering Krishna and serving Krishna, offering your food to Krishna. Then you'll be relieved from that anxiety. Prabhupada said the whole purpose of the Krishna conscious movement is to make people happy. No one is happy because we're eternal, but we're in a temporary position. How can we be happy? The Greeks have a fable, right, that anybody could sit on a throne, but the problem is on top of the throne there's a sword ready to fall. Just one thread is keeping it. But nobody wants to sit in that position because they know at any moment they could be dead. But that's our position now. Any moment they can be dead, especially on the highways. So dangerous place. And then where are we going? Oh, we don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody told us. Nobody came back to tell us. There's so many arguments they give. Forget about that. Just eat, drink, and be merry. Enjoy now. But that's foolish philosophy. Now you have this human form of life. Atata Brahma Jigyasa. You should inquire. Why do I suffer? What happens to me when I die? So everything is here. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, gives all the information. And if that's not sufficient, then we have Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So many books for those who are philosophically inclined. But aside from that, anybody can chant. Even we see the children. Children are nonsense, but they're ready to chant Hare Krishna. Nonsense, potentially they have great potential. But at this age, they're nonsense because all they want to do is play and eat and talk. And every parent knows that. How much service you have to give to the child because they're foolish. They're dangerous. They're liable to do something and hurt themselves. You have to be always alert. So, don't remain foolish. Don't be like a child. Try to understand the importance of this movement. It's a very serious movement. At the same time, it's joyful. We saw in Prabhupada. He was so serious. At the same time, he was always happy. You see the photo here. I'm just looking at the photo. You can see Prabhupada is blissful, but he's sober. He's not frivolous. Because he knows this is serious business we're in. We're in the land of death. And we should get out. And he knew the formula how to get out. Therefore, he took it seriously to help others get out. That was Prabhupada's greatest quality. That he extended himself so readily. Whoever came, he was ready to offer them assistance. Be so practical. But we're very fortunate somehow we've connected with Srila Prabhupada and his movement. So take advantage of this. Chant Hare Krishna, read Prabhupada's books, and your future will be very bright. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Gita?
I'm not sure how to really approach this question or how to even ask, but
you want to give her a microphone?
About Krishna, I was once asked or told that Krishna was a deity.
Krishna was a...
I said Krishna was God, and then someone told me that Krishna was a deity of India. I didn't know how to respond to that, and I didn't want to get into a...
Yeah, you can say he's a deity, he's the supreme deity. there are many deities, of demigods and so on, but Krishna himself says that Aham Savarse Prabhu, that he is the source of everything. He's the source of the demigod. He's the source of everything material and spiritual. He's the cause of all causes. So, there may be lesser deities, but he is the supreme deity. That's all. According to Bhagavad Gita, most Hindus accept Bhagavad Gita. They're speaking of deities, they must be Hindus. Right? Generally. Otherwise, if you say, if the Christians also ask you, well, he's just a Hindu deity, but that's not what Krishna says himself. He says, I'm the seed-giving father for every living entity. He claims to be the father of every living entity. So when I was raised as a Christian, we were told that that's God Almighty. He's the father of everyone. So that's what Krishna is. He's the supreme father. Now they may not accept that, but that's our belief according to Bhagavad Gita. According to the Srila Prabhupada who realized Krishna. See, that's one thing that we have that Christians don't have. We have a very recent example of the fully realized soul. So, he was saying that Krishna is God. And we saw by his behavior what he did, what he accomplished. One man, how he spread this movement all over the world in a few years. Sometimes we say, the Christians also say, you judge a tree by the fruit. So look at what Prabhupada did. So many people, lives were radically changed, like my own. Before I was addicted to intoxication, gambling, meat eating. Well, I wasn't so addicted to meat eating, but I was smoking marijuana and so many bad things. But I was able to give that all up. Just by, and I had tried before, but I couldn't. But when Prabhupada's touch, then I had the power to do it. So not only me, I was just insignificant. He had so many disciples. And those people also have disciples, and now there's a movement all over the world, simply by one man. So how can we think he's an ordinary man? And he's not an ordinary man, and he's saying, by my direct experience, by my realization, I'm telling you Krishna's God. Not just something that he heard, but that he realized. So, who can say like that in a Christian church? That they have audience of God, the Father, and he speaks to them. Maybe some crazy man will say, right?
Another question. Of course, my goal is to create peace, even though we don't.
To create peace?
Yes.
That shouldn't be the goal.
Well, no, I mean to say with someone who may have a different idea.
No, but even that, even Christ said, I have not come to join, I have come to even separate the family members. Didn't he say something like that? To set father against daughter. In my name. Arjuna, Krishna speaking to Arjuna to fight his relatives. The goal is not peace. The peace will come if we put God in the center. Okay. Peace will come naturally. So when Arjuna was shooting the arrow, he was most peaceful. Really, he was in samadhi. He was completely in harmony with himself. He was completely peaceful, and he was throwing an arrow to kill somebody. So it looks like that's not peace. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, excuse me, but I'm constantly learning to how to respond to those who might have different spiritual practice and different ideas. So when I say Krishna is God and then their response is Jesus Christ is God, how would I respond to that positively, or do I say?
Yeah, you can respond to it positively.
How do I respond?
You can respond very positively by encouraging them to become better Christians. Okay. And not associating with them so much. I mean, in other words, if their faith is that strong that we don't want to break anybody's faith. Faith is the most precious thing. So if they have that faith, then we should encourage them. But we all have our faith. And naturally, because their faith is there, they're going to want to break our faith. They're going to want to minimize Lord Chaitanya. or Prabhupada. They're not going to think that Prabhupada is on the same level as Christ. We think so. I mean, in other words, I show you what Prabhupada said. That's the mistake, one mistake that Christians make. He appreciated Christians a lot. But one mistake they made is they think that Christ is God. So, according to our belief, Christ is not God. He's a pure representative of God. And so is Prabhupada. So they're not going to accept that. So they're going to undermine our faith, even unconsciously, and we're going to undermine their faith. So better wish them well and keep our association and let them have their association. They should live in the church or in the monastery, not in the temple. Because then they can commit offense. If they associate with us so much, then they're gonna minimize, they're gonna insult Lord Chaitanya or Krishna or something, and ultimately that's going to be detrimental to them. So better to encourage them. Birds of a feather flock together. Let them stay with their Christian. So our belief is that if they're sincere to know Christ, then they can make spiritual advancement. It may be difficult, but I think you can do it. Set them free. Anyone else? Yes.
Maharaj, my question not be related to the topic today. I remember today is Mother's Day.
Oh, sure.
So happy Mother's Day. So my question is, I was just wondering.
Is it today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Oh, I thought it was today. Okay.
I don't. Yes.
So my question is how can we properly describe, not in a manner of comparing the love of Mother Yashoda and the love of Radharani to Krishna? Are they somehow like equal or?
They're different.
They're different.
There's a different rasa. When Mother Yashoda sees that Krishna sometimes has the mascara from the gopis smeared on his face or something, she can't enter into that. She thinks, oh, where is this from? By the yoga maya, maya means illusion. So by yoga maya, a spiritual illusion, she can't think that her son is dancing with the gopis. Because he's her son, he's on her lap. So it's just a different relationship. We shouldn't. But if you look objectively, you have to say that the Radharani is the best. She's the best devotee. But that doesn't minimize Mother Yashoda. So we follow in the footsteps of Radharani. That's our Gaudiya Vaishnavas. We try to become sincere servants of Radharani. But Radharani, when she goes to cook for Krishna, Mother Yashoda embraces her, takes her on her lap, kisses her face. So we shouldn't think that, we're followers of Radharani, so we don't care for Mother Yashoda. And Radharani also has so much respect for Mother Yashoda. Okay, anyone else? Yes.
I think in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that always try to remember me.
Oh.
I think it's very, it depends on what kind of task we are doing. Like say if you are doing a very intensive task which requires a lot of focus, then it may not be feasible in that situation to think about Krishna. But say we are doing a less intensive task, maybe it's easy to remember.
The secret is, why are you doing the task? Even you may forget, but if the work is for Krishna, then you'll remember. Why am I focusing so hard? Why is it? Because somehow the result, like Arjuna was, when he was shooting the arrow, he was focused on the enemy. But he was doing that to please Krishna, so then it was accepted. I'll give you an example. There was a disciple in Seattle in 1968. He was, name was Upendra. So he said, Prabhupada asked him, go to the market and buy some goods for cooking. For the deity, you know, he was going to cook something for the deity. He gave him a list of things. So the devotee said, Upendra said, Prabhupada, I don't like to go on the street because when I go out in the street, you know, it's summertime, the women are half dressed, I always become distracted, I can't. Let me stay here in the temple, and when I'm with you, I can always remember you, and then I'm okay. The Prabhupada said, no, you haven't understood. You should think, why have I come on the street? On the order of my spiritual master. It's like Hanuman, when he went to deliver the message to Sita. He met so many beautiful women sleeping, but he was never diverted because he had a mission. He was going to find Sita. Are you Sita? He saw the women half dressed, laying, sleeping. He wasn't distracted because he had a mission. I'm looking for Sita. Are you Sita? No, you're not Sita. You're not Sita. But he was saved from that distraction. He could always remember Krishna. So somehow, whatever we're doing, if we make, therefore Krishna says, what is it? Yat karoshi, yat asvasi, you know that verse? Yat tapasyasi kunteya, tat kurisha manarpana. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, do it as an offering to me. That was Arjuna was also thinking, how can I do this? Krishna said, do it for me. So if we do our work for Krishna, give some result, at least something to in Krishna's service, then we'll automatically be remembering Krishna. Even we may so-called forget him because we're focused on something else, but that focus is to please Krishna in some way. Karma yoga, gradually we can do. You follow?
Yeah, thank you.
You know?
I have a friend of mine that is devotee, and he was engaged with a girl that they both were Christian, but he changed, becoming devotee a few years ago, and she don't accept to become devotee. So he has a big problem. He asked me what he can do, and I honestly don't feel have the courage to tell him the best solution. So what do you suggest to do? Because she
To get courage.
She don't want to become devotee. He's a really devotee.
The best thing is to have courage. Seek first the kingdom of God in His right way, and everything else will follow. But that takes courage.
So the two cannot convive together.
And then the children, what will they be? They'll be dragged to the church one week and to the temple next week. And
I know it will be big.
it's very difficult. You talk to the psychiatrist, and people who have strong religious conviction and at their different faiths, very difficult marriage. Very difficult. If somebody's just like a Gnostic or something and they don't care much, then it may work. But if people are serious about their religion, then it's very difficult.
So it will be a nightmare continuing to live with the other.
That's my opinion. I mean,
thank you very much.
or else, if that girl, or who are you talking about? A girl who became a devotee?
No,
He became a devotee. That's even more difficult. I'm saying that, like in another case, if a woman is a devotee and a man is a Christian devotee, we accept them as devotee, then she may think, okay, let me become a Christian to follow him, because that's her duty, her first duty, just like Gandhari. Dhritarashtra, she became married to Dhritarashtra. He was blind, she took blindfold. It's my duty as a street dharma to follow my husband. You want to do that? You want to become a Christian? Otherwise, it's always going to be.
So practically, if he's a woman, she have stopped to follow Krishna.
She should follow her husband, yeah.
Follow Jesus Christ.
And he should say, listen, I'm a Hare Krishna. If you want to follow me, please. They're not married yet?
And not.
No, then he should tell her. If you want to marry me, I want you to help me in my service to Krishna. Are you willing? No? Then okay. Find another girl. There's so many fish in the sea. But we get so much attached on the Bali platform. That's where the problem. That, you know, now we think that this is my soulmate or something. That's all Maya. The example is given in the Bhagavatam. Like straws come together in a river. And they together for some time, then they separate again. Or another example is given. We're traveling on the road and we stop at a rest stop and go in a restaurant and we're eating something that somebody else is coming and eating it. But then again we get in the car and we don't see them again, ever. But we think, oh no, this person I have so much relationship with, it's so important for me. But it's not so important. The relationship first should be with God, then everything else will follow. That's what the Christians also said. I'm telling you, Christ also said, I have not come to bring peace. I've come to separate, even father and daughter in my name. He was a fired up preacher. You can find that verse. Who knows? Anybody expert on Christianity?
Thank you.
Yes.
It's true. It's there, right? Okay, let's stop here. Bhagavad Gita ki. Jai. Prabhupada ki. Jai.